We boarded our boat from the Strand in Salima for a 90-minute cruise around Marsamxett and the Grand Harbour. Leaving the quay, we sail out into Salima Creek, past the exclusive properties on the Salima front. Salima merges into Gezira before we turn towards the island of Manuel. It was formerly known as Bishop's Island because it belonged to the church. It was renamed after the Portuguese Grand Master Manuel de Gradana, who was responsible for fortifying the island. Fort Manuel has been used for many things, including Royal Navy magazines. It is currently the home of the Maltese Royal Yacht Club. The building with the arches was once an isolation hospital known as Lazaretto. It was the first of its kind to be built in the Mediterranean and was used to treat illnesses such as cholera and the plague. The wooden ship, the Black Pearl, seen here, was once owned by Errol Flynn, but after it sank, it lay on the bottom for many years until it was salvaged to play a part in the film Popeye, which was shot here in Malta. It's now a bar and restaurant. Now heading towards Valletta, we pass the impressive Mesida Bastion. It was built in 1566. Around the corner, we get our first close-up view of Valletta, with the large dome of St. Paul's Anglican Cathedral standing above all else. The city of Valletta is surrounded by over 2 kilometers of walls and bastions, which in itself makes the city a large fortress. Rounding the corner of the San Sebastian Bastion, you can just see at the far right the auberge of the English Knights. As we approach St. Gregory's Bastion, we start to navigate around Fort St. Elmo. The strategic Fort St. Elmo has been guarding the entrance to Valletta's 2 harbours for centuries. Its fortifications were heavily strengthened during the Second World War. It was badly bombed by Axis bombers. The fort is now the home of the Maltese Police Academy. Now in the Grand Harbour, we pass the Hospital of the Knights of St. John, Sacra Infermeria. It was built in 1574. Hanging in its own little mausoleum is the siege bell. It's rung every day to commemorate all those who have fallen in the defence of Malta. Also just visible are the feet of the tomb of the unknown soldier. Above are the lower Baracca Gardens. On the skyline, you can see the arches of the upper Baracca Gardens sitting atop the St. Peter and St. Paul bastions. The white-coloured hydrofoils are used for the service to Sicily, only 60 miles away. We are now entering French Creek and the massive dockyard. The dry dock seen here is 4 stories deep and can accommodate ships up to 320,000 tons. There are a further 6 dry docks within the dockyard. Malta's strategic position makes the dockyard ideally situated for ships passing through the Suez Canal. The dockyard is overlooked by the city of Senglia, which houses many of the dockyard workers. The vedette at the point of Senglia signals the turn into Dockyard Creek, once the home of the Royal Navy in Malta. At the end of Dockyard Creek starts the city of Vittoriosa, once the capital of Malta before Valletta. The wharf of Vittoriosa is still fronted by the former Royal Navy bakery and storerooms. A port was originally established here in the year 807 by the Arabs. Overlooking Dockyard Creek and the Grand Harbour stands Fort St Angelo. From 1912 it was known as HMS St Angelo and was the headquarters of the British Royal Navy in the Mediterranean. Before this, the fort had many uses, including a prison. The famous artist Caravaggio was imprisoned here after being accused of murder. We are now sailing up Calcara Creek, down the other side of Vittoriosa. At the end of the creek is the town of Calcara. On the left side of the creek is Biggie. This was once the Royal Navy Hospital. One can see a tall building, which was an ingenious elevator, which was used to enable the sick and wounded to be transported into the hospital directly from ships' boats. Then it was back to the strand in Salima and dry land after a very informative cruise.